Hey, what's up, everyone? Zach here. Hopefully you have an amazing day, and I want to welcome you to our car. I was going to do a video outside today, but it's so windy. Look at this, just like 2 seconds. It's so windy that you would never, ever hear a thing that I'm saying. So, welcome to the car. And the lighting's a little bit funky, but that's okay. We're going to have to do it funky-tastic today. Today I want to talk to you about calendars and the best way to do your calendar. Something I've been working on this for about 10 years or so to figure out the best way to actually keep myself organized and all that kind of stuff. And I think I found the best way, or at least for me I did. I'm trying to adjust this. We're like going super old school right now, super sketchy. I want to talk to you about this because I've done it in multiple different ways. I've been doing this for doing different types of calendars for like 10 years, some of them being really, really good and some of them being totally useless and bad. So today I'm going to talk to you about what I do. Hopefully you can find some value. So if you find value in this, do me a favor, like and subscribe, and smash it, hit it! You do it? All right, cool. So if you hit it, I want you to hit subscribe and then go down below and comment what you learned, and then we can talk about some things. Cool. All right, so first and foremost, lastly, we're gonna get to this. This is what I'm doing today, but it's not what you think it is. What I used to do is when I very first got started in network marketing, in business for myself for the very first time, I started to keep a calendar, and I did it on an iPhone, just using the iCal. And I want you to subtract 10 years from now or ago. iPhones were barely a thing. Okay, so I went to my very first. I was at like a hotel meeting, got the presentation shown. I was out in the hall, coordinating something with the person that invited me, and I pulled out my phone, and they're like, "Did you get an iPhone? Wow, man!" And they're like all impressed. I don't know if they were actually impressed, if they were just like making me feel good. But either way, the iPhones were really new, and they weren't all over the place. So all of them had Blackberries or flip phones or whatever. And so I used an iCal for a while. I used that for a little bit. It wasn't bad necessarily. It just was entry level stuff. I couldn't really do everything that I needed to do. So what I did next is I got a Franklin Covey physical planner, like a physical calendar. 1 week per an open fold. And then in that, so I had my physical calendar, and then in that, I also had ability to put receipts and stuff and track my mileage and all those things. So it was a nice little thing. It actually worked out pretty well as far as organization goes, but there was a problem with it, and it was the same problem that I faced with the iCal and with the next thing I did. And that is that I had a lot of white space that I always filled with busyness. Meaning this, I worked from 9 to 5 at a job. And then at 5, I got off work and started working on my business. I would go out and cold call people for 3 hours, from 5 to 7, 5 to 8. Then I would go do meetings at Starbucks or whatever. I do meetings. And then I would go do other stuff. But what the problem was is if I didn't have things to do, if I had white space on my calendar from let's say 8 o'clock till midnight, I would feel like I needed to go do something to fill that space. And so since I saw the white space, I'd go fill stuff in. What I basically got myself in the habit of doing was being busy, not necessarily effective. And so I was constantly doing something, but I was definitely not always operating in my strengths, and I was definitely wasting a lot of time. See, busyness does not mean progress. I didn't learn that yet. And so I fell into that trap for a lot of years doing crap like that. And I definitely advise that you avoid that at all costs. You will waste a lot of time and think that whatever you're doing isn't working, when in fact it could just be you doing the wrong stuff. All right. Say hello to the people behind us. So hopefully that makes sense. What I did next is I went to something called a bullet journal, which is this. I don't use the bullet journal like I do today. So I'm going to talk about the way I used to do it and the way I use it now. The way I used to do it is I would put my tasks in the bullet journal. I'll show you how I do that in a moment. And then I would import them into Google Calendar and time myself out. So it's okay, I got 4 things to do today. I will now put those in my Google Calendar and follow my calendar until I get my stuff done. But what I found is I would get super, super stressed out. So the whole point of having a bullet journal, and by the way, this is not even a real bullet journal. Maybe it is. It's just a book, just a journal with dots on it. I'll put my phone up here in a second and show you. But it's just got a bunch of dots on it. All right, so it's not, you don't need to go get a bullet journal, so you just get a dotted journal and it's just as fine. But there's the methodology is what I'm trying let you know here. So I'll let you know the methodology in a second. But what I would do is I would write my stuff down, what I needed accomplished, and then I would put it in Google Calendar. But I would find that if I put it in the calendar and try to follow the schedule that I set for myself that day in my digital calendar, I would get so anxious and freaked out and pissed that I wasn't on point and I wasn't directly like doing exactly what I should be doing at the right time. And every day I would get to the end of the day and it'd be like, between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock, whatever, somewhere in there. And I get to the end of the day and I would be like, dude, I've got all this time. Like I would be free. Like I'd be free, I'd be done, I'd be open to do whatever. I'm like, I've got all this time left over at the end of the day. I've got all my stuff done. Why was I so stressed out the whole day working? Like clearly I get done between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock every day or earlier. And I've got all this time to just go chill or do whatever. And here I am getting pissed off every day that I'm not getting my stuff done on time. But it doesn't even matter if I'm on time because I have all this time left over. You know what I'm saying? So what I started to do is delete the Google Calendar piece out of my routine and just follow the journal. And now I go back in, and after every day I go back after the day is done, and I go fill in what I did that day in the calendar. I do that so that I can go stay organized in case I need to look back on things in case this book gets lost. That's one. And two is for tax purposes. If I do anything that requires me to write things off, which I do a lot, I want to make sure that it's tracked in my calendar because that's one of the first things the IRS does when they audit you is they, if it's a legitimate write-off, which all of ours are, if it's a legitimate write-off, they go and correspond that to your calendar. And the easiest thing to do with your calendar is to have that digital. You can just search it, right? So let me talk to you about, I'm going to show you actually my journal right now and show you how I do it. The first thing that I do is I identify my, look at this, you can see my steering wheel. I identify my 80-20, okay? So if we open up a random day here to July, you can see here that I've got my 80-20, okay? So it says 80% priorities, all else delegated or eliminated. The 80% means these are the priorities. These are my priorities, okay? These are the things that I am most effective at. So anything outside of this 80%, other people can do, and they don't make the business as successful as I can if I focus on this 80%. So I have to focus here. That means anything that falls out of this, I can only spend 20% of my time doing it. I have to eliminate it. I have to work on eliminating it, automate it, or delegating it. If it goes over 20%, it definitely falls in eliminated, automated, or delegated. Okay? Does this make sense? Remember that you can, if you focus on what your strengths are, your 80%, you can let a lot of little stuff happen, and it doesn't matter. Like just like Tim Ferriss says, I'd rather have some little things go wrong and have the big things go right than have all the little stuff taken care of and be completely stressed out every day and not even accomplish my big things. All right, so let's go into this. All right, so we're going to look at this journal. This is the same page. So I've got on this side is the week. So these are the tasks that I want to accomplish that week. So I have move out. It's funny. Move out of Mom's house. Just kidding. This is when we moved out to travel the world. We had to pack up all of our stuff and put it in storage out of our house, and then go travel the world later down that month or the next month. Unpack. Got some. It says Javier stuff. Give stuff to our assistant. Switch over some things. Video chop. Webinar stats. Webinar tweak. Webinar record. Then on this, these are my days. So these are the things I'm doing each day. Okay, I got to roll in a second. These cops are coming for me. Let's go to a week that's a little bit more filled out. It's like this one. These are all the things I need to accomplish this week. These are them put into days. You'll see over here on the left side, or your right, that each of the tasks has a arrow or an X. The arrow means I did not accomplish it, and I'm pushing it to the next week. The X means I did accomplish it, and we're done. And the line through it means deleted. Don't worry about it. See, what this does is every week it forces you to confront what you're actually doing. So if I put an arrow through it, it means like, okay, this is still important enough for me to push to next week and put it on my future self. If I exit out, obviously I'm done with it. And if I eliminate it, it means I've reviewed it and I'm saying, okay, this was important to me at one point, but it's not important to me now, so I'm going to delete it, which most calendars, they don't give you that luxury. You're constantly pushing things forward, or you're just not getting it done, right? Both of which can be bad. So that's why I follow this particular journal. Now today, I've got, my 2 to 4 tasks. Sometimes it can be a little bit bigger. I've got my 2 to 4 tasks that all fit within my 80%. And then I just go do those tasks. I don't put them in Google Calendar. I literally just finish them. I don't care how much time it takes me. I just do them. And sometimes I'm really, really fast. Other times I'm not. I do find that I'm typically faster if I'm not putting stuff into a scheduled calendar. I usually am faster anyway, and I'm way less stressed. Like today, it's 11:45 as I'm recording this in the morning. And honestly, if I was still putting stuff into my calendar, like before I did it, no doubt I'd be freaking out right now. I'd be so stressed. Like I haven't even got to my video yet, and it's 11:45. I'd be super pissed. But not the case, right? Because I know what I got to do today. This is on my list of things to do. This video, got a few more other things to do, and then I'm done, and that's it. And I can be done. I can go do more if I want to, but I don't have to, right? This also keeps you organized so that you don't fall into the trap of working for the sake of working, the socially acceptable norm that we have to stay busy. Well, you can remove a lot of that if I finished my stuff today, now I can stop. Stopping sometimes gives you more energy to be creative later. All right. So anyway, hopefully this helps you guys. I've done a lot of different variants for literally 10 years. I started doing this journal about 3 years ago. I did it with a calendar for a while, like I told you, and I would say I did it with just a journal for about a year. Then I implemented the calendar in it, and things got stinky. So I did it for just the journal for probably a year. I did it with the journal and the calendar for a year and a half, and then for the past 3 months or so, I've done it with just the journal again, and it is by far the best method that I've found to use it. So I'd recommend picking up one of these. There's a book actually called the Bullet Journal Method. I've not read the book. I've just read the Cliff Notes version that comes with the bullet journal when you buy it, and that's what helped me. I actually don't even follow the bullet method exactly. I kind of made up my own, which is what I just showed you. So I had to go pick up one of these. You don't have to get a bullet journal necessarily. You just get a dotted journal, totally fine. This one is called, I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's a German brand. It's like Lettrum 1917. I think it's the company that actually produces the real bullet journal. It just doesn't say bullet journal on it. But I really recommend getting one of these and implementing something like this. Remember to do the 80-20 split. Figure out where you're most effective. If you're not sure where you're most effective, here's the easiest thing. What do you do that brings in the maximum amount of money in your business? That's where you're most effective. And what is your strength? So what am I good at? What do I like doing? And what brings in the most amount of money? Find the commonalities, and that's where you should spend the majority of your time. Everything else should be eliminated, automated, or delegated. There are some things that I still have to do today that I haven't been able to eliminate, automate, or delegate, but it's very, very few. And it's a process too. So you're not going to just wake up today and be like, okay, I'm just going to let everything that I've been doing fall to the wayside. You might not be able to do that. It's taken me, multiple months, maybe even over a year to get that 20% down to actually 20%. You have to put people in place, you have to put systems in place, automation in place, you have to eliminate things and be willing to eliminate them. It takes planning, but it's worth it. Because at the end of the day, you most likely are the most important person to your business, most likely. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to work the hardest. It just means that your strategic brain is probably the most important asset that you have in your business, most likely. So make sure that you're putting your time on strategy and putting your time on top of the business, not necessarily in it, if at all possible. The last thing I want to mention to you is in regards to network marketing. Most likely if you're watching this, you're in the network marketing industry, you're in the network marketing business. What a lot of people will tell you is to spend 90% of your time prospecting. Okay, if you're building the business old school, that's entirely correct, and you have to spend the majority of your time prospecting. I will tell you that you don't have to. It's a complete load of crap that you have to. You can automate that. Okay, you can build legitimate lead gen systems, sales funnels. This is what we teach in MLMsalesfunnels.com on bringing in tons of leads. So we can generate more leads literally in 12 hours than most people can in a year doing all kinds of stuff, even other people running sales funnels, but definitely doing people against what people are doing old school. We can recruit people. We've recruited more people in a day automatically without me talking to anyone than some people do in an entire year or multiple years. Okay, this is what you can do when you put in effective marketing in place. So to learn more about that, go to the private but free group that you can go and learn about a lot of the stuff. It's MLMsalesfunnels.com. The link is right down below. I'd also recommend listening to the MLM Rebels podcast, where we talk about a lot of these strategies and give you a bunch of amazing stuff completely for free. And if you want to get some like really in-depth meaty stuff, there's a free blueprint. It's a 40-page blueprint telling you how we implemented all these lead gen systems for us in our own business, and how you could do the same if you'd like to. That's MLMRebelsBlueprint.com. The link is down below as well. Sound good? All right, guys. Hopefully this helped you and this found you well. Do me a favor, like and subscribe to this channel. Leave a comment down below. We love you. We appreciate you. I'll see you all very soon.